A lot of people think using oil paints is a lot harder than using acrylics. In this video, I'm going to show you why that is not true. Hi, welcome to Paint Coach. I'm Chris Fornatero here to help simplify oil painting so you can get better faster. All right, first off, I just want to say that this isn't a video to put down acrylic painting or make you not want to do acrylic paints. If that's what you do, fine, have fun, that's awesome, they're really cool. This is for the people that want to do oil painting and probably are working in acrylics or watercolors but are scared to go into oil paints because they've heard certain things and they think it'll be a lot difficult and it's just very intimidating. There's a lot of resistance. So that's what this video is aimed to do, which is get rid of that intimidation, get rid of that resistance. I was the exact same way. I painted with watercolors and acrylics for a very long time and was scared to go into oils because of all the scary stories that I've heard about how much the paints cost, how the drying time is really slow, how you have to wash your brushes a certain way and everything's expensive and everything. But once I actually started oil painting, I realized it's much more simpler. And once you actually get going and learn the basics, it's a whole lot easier than using acrylics. All right, so drying time. This is the number one thing people always talk about when they talk about oils and being difficult, and the difference with acrylics is the drying time. Now the thing with this is, yes, they are a slow drying time, but you need to use that to your advantage. The great thing about oil paints is once you put the paint on the canvas, you're not like, you can manipulate it, you can change the color. Like, you have a wide flexibility of what you can do with the paint once it's on the canvas. That way, like I always say, like, you can't really mess up an oil painting because you can always go back and fix it. It's very easy to wipe off and start again. It's very easy to change a color, just change and manipulate and push and pull the paint once it's on the canvas, which allows you so much more freedom opposed to acrylics where there's a lot of layering, a lot of waiting for layers to dry to build on those certain layers. And quite frankly, I don't know about you, I don't like sitting and watching paint dry. This also leads to being able to do certain things with oils, like painting alla prima, which is, you know, painting a painting all in one sitting. This is done a lot in plein air painting. It's done a lot with portrait studies from life. And there's a lot to be learned from painting an entire subject in one sitting, whether it's just a study or if it's a full completed painting. That ability to, in one sitting, completely take in what you're seeing and put it on a canvas is very, very valuable. And it's really hard to do with acrylics because you can't really layer and build paint with acrylics all at once. Like, you can over time and like letting certain layers dry, and over the course of days, weeks, like you can build it up. But in terms of sitting there in one sitting, the thing with oils, when you work thin to thick, you can really layer the paint and really, you know, fill out and finish a painting all in one sitting. Which is, again, like, this is why a lot of plein air painters use oils, because it allows you that freedom to do a painting to completion in one sitting, because the ability to layer the paints quickly. All right, and cleanup. This is another thing that I feel like people take the complete wrong way, and they see these mediums and mineral spirits and oils and fumes and all this stuff. And really, in my experience, cleanup is a lot more forgiving with oils. With acrylics, you need to wash your brushes when you're done painting right away. That paint dries pretty quickly. If it dries on your brushes, it's going to really mess up your brushes. Whereas with oils, because it is a slow drying time, it's pretty forgiving, and you can, you know, I leave my brushes overnight all the time with oil paint still on them, knowing that I'm going to paint the next day. And there's even certain oils that you can get. Like, I got this one. Shout out to Draw Mix Paint and Geneva Fine Art Supplies. This is the greatest thing that I've gotten. I don't get any money from this guy. I've never talked to this guy. He has great videos. His videos are pretty advanced, but this Geneva Fine Art Supplies, this brush dip, is great for lazy people like me, because I'll be painting, when I'm done, I'll just dip my brush in this, and it's like walnut. No, it's safflower oil and clove leaf oil. And it's great because it keeps the paint on my brushes from drying and for a very long time, so it makes cleanup so easy. All right, another great thing about oils is I feel like you have a lot more variety in the consistency of your paint. There are a lot of different mediums you can get out there, from linseed oil to cold wax to anything that you can think of to make the paint as thin or as thick as you want. You can do it really thin. You can use a palette knife and do really, really thick palette knife paintings. You have such a wide variety of styles and ways to use the paint that you just can't really do with acrylics, I feel like, as much. And that's just a great thing that you can take advantage of. Gives you more freedom, more ability to do what you want with your painting in your own style. To people starting out, this can actually kind of be intimidating or seen a different way, because they'll go online and they'll see all these different painters all using different kinds of mediums, thick paint, thinner paint, and they don't know which one is right. But don't worry about that. Like, everybody kind of does their own thing, and I recommend just starting out with linseed oil. That's kind of like the base. And once you get a hang of that and get a feel for the paint, if you want to try and do something different, you can branch out and start experimenting with other ones. But just to keep things simple and get you painting and not be intimidated and having fun, just start out with some linseed oil. It's great to thin out the paint. I think I have a video on that, which I'll put a link to in the description, on how to go about using linseed oil, so you can check that out. But that's a good way to start out, just using linseed oil. But when you're ready, it's just endless how many different mediums and different styles you can accomplish with oil paint. So there's some good reasons for how, like, using oil paint is easier than acrylics. Some little side note is one, if you do end up trying to sell your work later on, oils are more respected, I feel like, in a lot of the galleries and sites that sell art prefer oil paintings over acrylics. So if you're going to dive into that, dive into painting, might as well just get going on oils, because in the long run it's going to be helpful. I've always seen oils as kind of like learning cursive writing, even though I don't think they teach that in schools anymore. It might be a little bit difficult to start out with, but once you get going, you write a lot faster. And same thing with oils. It's like, once you get going, you're just gonna have so much more fun. And I don't think I've ever met an artist who started painting in oils, moved to oils, and then stopped and just went back to acrylics because they'd rather do acrylics. I've never seen that happen. I mean, they go back like for a painting or two, or just have some fun, do some watercolors. But once people start with oil paintings, you're pretty much, that's all that you want to do after that. All right, I hope you found this video helpful. Hope it got rid of any intimidation that you have over oil paints. Don't be scared. You can oil paint. You just need to start out and do it. Don't make it too complicated. Keep it very simple. Get yourself some basic brushes, canvas pad, some linseed oil, mineral spirits, some basic oil paint. I'm going to be making a video on what oil paints to buy from the brand, the colors, just the cheapest, for the good quality. There's some bad quality paints out there you don't want to use, but there are some that are good quality, reasonably priced. The best that I would recommend for someone just starting out. Because I know it's intimidating with all these different materials and all these different people saying different things. I just want to just make it as simple as possible for somebody starting out. So if you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at Forza43. I am Chris Fornatero here, telling you to go get painting.